Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Pisgah Podcast.
Thank you again for listening to Pisgah. We're your hosts, Drew and Mangler, coming to you live from beneath the zipline tower at Kolo Bike Park.
Man, I don't know what's more fun, riding the zip lines or jumping to flat over the little golf cart path.
Well, you can do both. You're not just holding to one.
That's true.
Last week we mentioned that we had t-shirts for sale, but we just didn't really go into detail about how to get them.
Yeah, that's kind of my bad. Yeah, I kind of dropped the ball on that one, didn't I?
Yeah, well, so other than our social media accounts, our online presence is a little lacking with an official website. So with that said, we don't really have an official web store for shirts.
Our current sales have pretty much been through Instagram and Venmo, but we've got a Big Cartel account now, and we'll have that link in the show notes, but it is pisgahpodcast.bigcartel.com.
Yeah, we didn't really plan that out too well, did we? But, we got some shirts to some people anyways.
Yeah, people were psyched. And, but what we did plan to do was give $5 from each shirt back to Pisgah area Sorba. So we'll be writing that check next week, and we are real psyched for that ink to dry.
So now that we've got that dialed in, what's been going on with you this week, Mangler?
Well, I've been kind of in a heavy work mode the past few weeks. The old saying, make hay while the sun shines. And so that's what I've been doing. I'm down in Wilmington this week working on some really cool bike-related content, which is always awesome to do, but can't really share the details on that just yet. I've not gotten to ride too much lately, but I did get a lap in yesterday on the Blue Clay Trails, which are just outside of Wilmington. Fun little XC lap. It's good to get on the bike and spin the legs. But what about you? What's new over your way?
So I've been kind of keeping it quiet, but about 3 weeks ago, I shoulder checked the ground. And the prognosis is that I dislocated my shoulder, and I have a torn labrum, and I have a small fracture of the Hill Sachs, whatever that is. But yeah, the good news is that in 3 more weeks, if I have good stability in my shoulder and decent range of motion, I can go about my life again and ride. So the bad news would be that in 3 weeks, if I have poor stability, I will need surgery to repair my torn labrum.
Torn anything always sounds super scary to me after having a torn ACL. But, that's definitely a bummer to hear because we're right here in like prime spring weather riding. But, kind of what's your plan? You got a lot of time management to deal with here in the next couple of weeks. So what are you up to?
Well, I'm hopeful that the surgery is going to be a no-go, and I'm really psyched to be riding. And I'm bummed on the downtime, but I figure if I can't ride my bike, it's a good time to update to a new rig.
Oh, a new rig, eh? So for this new build, let me ask you this: SRAM or Shimano?
Well, for now, it's primarily just the parts off my current bike because nobody has anything available. But I do have a few new components lined up for the build.
Okay, so what's up? Are we going to get a full rundown of this new rig?
Not yet. I don't want to spoil the surprise. I don't even have the frame in hand yet. I don't even know if the delivery truck's going to get taken over by pirates or something. So I don't want to jinx that, and I don't want to ruin some future content.
Ooh, yeah. So you want to play those cards close because you don't want to risk anything at this point with the lack of bike stuff availability right now.
No, but I am looking forward to getting it built up, and, when I do, I'm probably going to give it some time before I really take it out in the woods and give it a little shakedown close by.
So what would be like your close by shakedown, Rod? Are you going to, it seems like Kolo's real close to you.
Yeah, Kolo's up the street. It's a great place to just go do a lap, check your suspension settings, and make sure you've got everything dialed before you venture into the woods and get too far in before you figure out you need to change something up, right?
Yeah, that's right. You've got Kolo close by you, whereas I have Canuga close by me.
Right, yeah. And so for this week's interview, we actually have Colin from Kolo Bike Park to give us some updates on what's going on and tell us what's new over there.
Right on.
Thanks for doing this with me.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry we haven't done it sooner. I know that injury probably set you back a little bit.
Yeah, I remember we were supposed to do it the week that I actually broke my hip. So it's
Yeah.
cool to finally get around to it a couple months later.
Yeah. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name's Colin. I'm the bike park manager at Kolo Bike Park near downtown Asheville. I don't really know what else to say about myself. I like riding bikes.
Yeah. Mostly just kind of want to talk about what's new at Kolo. I know that a lot of our listeners come here regularly, people that ride in the summertime for locals night and things like that. And
Yeah, 5 after 5 on Thursday nights.
Mm-hmm.
Totally, man.
Always a fun time.
Always. We actually started it back up last night. It was the first night. We advertised it a little bit, kind of wanted to do a little soft opening for it to see how it would go. A lot of new stuff going on at the park. And if anybody was here last year, they might remember how crazy it got when we kind of had to cap it at 100 people because there was too many people in the park. Terrible problem to have.
Yeah.
But so this year we've added another jump line. We've added, more features throughout the park to kind of hopefully spread some people out. And so if you guys want to come ride on Thursdays, it's only $5 from 5 to 8. Pretty good deal.
It's always been a fun time and a good social interaction too, which is something that I think a lot of us are starved for right now.
For sure. For sure.
And, another thing, while we're talking about the 5 after 5, I think one thing people don't really understand is that it's not just for dirt jumping.
No, we have just about everything you could do on your bike here, even trials if you want to trials it up a little bit. There's some rocks around here, but we've got about 4 miles of trails, everything from beginner green trails to intermediate blue trails to some ridiculous black diamond stuff. We've got a couple of pump tracks, which are great for not only BMX bikes, dirt jumpers, but also on mountain bikes, just kind of learning how to find your flow. I guess that's where Kolo came from. But then we've also got a skills park area for the skinnies and the little teeter-totters and balance features to really just get acquainted with your bike, even real small drops and then bigger drops and then ridiculously big drops for when you've mastered those. So a little something for everybody out here, even if you're not just a dirt jumper.
Yeah, I think that's important for people to know because there's that association because the jumps are great, pump track's great, and there's still a lot more left here for people to see.
Some pretty good single track here and there too.
Yeah, absolutely. There's 5 after 5, obviously. But what about the rest of the hours during the week? What's a normal week look like at Kolo?
That's a great question. So right now we're actually open 5 days a week. We're closed Mondays and Tuesdays. That'll change starting Memorial Day, 7 days a week through the summer, and we'll go back to 5 days a week after Labor Day. Obviously, it's a seasonal thing here. But we are open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. right now, and I think we're going to go to 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. after Memorial Day. And then again on Thursdays, open till 8 o'clock for that 5 after 5 party.
Cool. And what about the weekends coming up? Or are the weekend hours going to change or anything like that?
No, weekend hours will stay the same. We're just basically open till 6 o'clock on the weekends at this time. Nothing's changing on there. If we do decide to change that, we'll let you know on our social media accounts.
For sure.
At Kolo Bike Park.
Cool.
Real hard one to follow.
I guess the season's really kind of kicking off here currently. What about, has there been any major changes during the off-season?
We've got new trailhead maps over the off-season this year. Shout out to Callie from Ride Canuga who helped us design our new maps. We've got a few of them located throughout the park just to update it with all the new trails that we've added over the last few years. So all of our new trails are on there. Even the trails that we're building currently are already on the map. We just need to finish them now. So that's always, a good problem to have there. We got a couple new green trails like Boardwalk that's on there. We've got our Park Place Trail, which is a black diamond trail, and we've got our new trail Word, which is also a black diamond jump trail. Pretty sweet trail that's going in the woods over there. Those are all on our new park map. We've got a new drop zone out there with at least 3 pretty difficult drops, ranging in size from 2.5 feet all the way up to 6 foot. A big step up out there now as well. We've made a ton of changes to the dirt jumps to make them kind of flow better and make the green lines greener, the blue lines bluer, and the black lines blacker, so just trying to make everything fit.
Differentiate things.
For sure. And we've got a whole new trail that we've added, a blue jump line trail called Trailer Park. It actually goes through a semi-trailer. That's why we named it Trailer Park. And then that, culminates in a nice little 3 tabletop jump line at the end. Pretty fun, nice sessionable little trail. Mm-hmm. Good use of space over there, and that's what we're all about here.
Cool. Yeah, I remember that field over there was kind of overgrown and not really being used at all.
Yeah. Actually, funny story, it was an overgrown field. Our original name for that trail was Jungle Boogie, which would have been a great trail name.
Yeah.
But since they like brush hog the field, so we just called it Trailer Park because that's
Yeah.
kind of what it looks like over there.
It works. And so who's doing the trail work? Is that you and a crew here, or do you outsource any of that?
It's all in-house. We've got a couple of guys who we got on hand. Both of their names start with H. We got Hunter and Henry, who are our current trail crew, and myself. Now I'm able to get out there and actually move around, swing a shovel. But all this stuff's done in-house. Those dudes do a great job. I don't know if anybody out there knows who Hunter is, but he slap packs a mean lip, dude.
Yeah.
He can shape a dirt jump. So if you've noticed our dirt jumps getting just more beautiful and more beautiful over the years, that's all Hunter's work.
I've noticed that even just with the advent of social media, dirt jumps just look prettier now than they used to.
People know how to pack them in.
Yeah. Back in the 90s, they were all kicked in at the top and rounded. And now they're all perfectly square and slap tight. So that's awesome.
The dirt jump two-step is still a real thing, though. That two-step thing you do on a lip, it's a little dance. We all know.
Just
Only
got to
dance I know.
feel for a soft spot, maybe. And so for people maybe getting into riding, that's another thing that I think about when I have people come to me and ask, where's a good place to learn how to ride a mountain bike, or where's a place I can try it out without big commitment? You guys have rental bikes here.
For sure. Yeah, we've got rentals for any size or shape of person. Full suspensions, hard tails. We're getting e-bikes pretty soon, which is going to be pretty rad.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, we are a Rocky Mountain dealer, so all of our rentals are Rocky Mountains. They're decent bikes, and we can accommodate just about anybody on a bike, and we've got a nice, beginner-friendly place for them to try it out on, which is really important. A lot of our business model is of renting bikes, and we get a lot of tourists to this area in Asheville. It's a great thing. It's what keeps our economy going, and so we get a lot of people up from Florida who want to try mountain biking, and we try to give them a taste of what you might find outside our park for beginners. Obviously, if you want to go ride mountain bikes out here and you're from Florida, the couple hundred feet of climbing that you might experience at Bent Creek just to get to a decent trail is going to be a lot. So out here we've got 100 feet of elevation.
Yeah.
Big hill out here, And so it's definitely a little more suitable for people who aren't quite ready for like the bigger mountains and things like that.
Sure. And even people that are just kind of timid about going out into the woods, since
sure.
this is kind of a nice little, lush green vegetated area in the city.
Oh, yeah.
So you're not going to get lost out here.
No, it's hard to get lost.
So it's been done.
we have many trailhead maps out there for a reason, but we like to say if you stumble onto the golf course, you probably went a little bit too far.
Yeah.
If you're in the Crown Plaza parking lot, you went a little bit too far. So, but we're tucked in here just outside of downtown Asheville. It's a beautiful area, and yeah, it's nice to have it all condensed into one area where people typically can't get lost.
Right. And for beginners, do you offer any kind of experience or guiding or instruction here, or is that an option at all?
Through the park, no, we don't offer that directly. We do have our camps and our clinics, which are youth-based. Particularly, our bike camp is a huge thing. It runs all summer long. We also have the after-school club, but these are all for kids ages 5 to 17. As far as adults go, we don't have anything right now for like beginner mountain bike or anything like that, but it's definitely in the works. We're looking at going that route, but we're definitely heavy on the youth side of the extracurricular activities with our bike club, bike camp, Saturday shred sessions, all those things.
Yeah, and because it's a self-contained spot, it's obviously a very safe environment for youth too. So.
Relatively safe, safe's
Yeah.
never really a word we try to use
Sure.
around here. We try to make things safer, but we can't ever, you can't ever guarantee anybody's safety.
Right.
Riding a mountain bike is going to be inherently dangerous. Dirt jumping is going to be even more dangerous. Keep that in mind.
I've found out the hard way.
Hey, me too, man. Me too. On that note, I'll talk about our camp programs real quick. I was hoping I could come on the podcast a couple months ago. I was looking forward to coming on here and saying, hey, come sign up for our camps and everything. Well, it's too late to do that. They're all full at this point, but they are an awesome program. And it's really cool to see, kids getting on bikes, and maybe kids who aren't super sure if they're into bikes or are into it, but they just need, a little bit of coaching, a little bit of foundation on what they're doing on a bike. And we have a great place for them to learn. And we have a great staff of camp counselors who go out of their way to make sure, the kids are having a good time, they're learning, they're staying relatively safe for the, activity that they're doing, and they have a good time, and the parents see that they have a good time and they enjoy it, and, the kids go home tired at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
what else could you ask for?
Yeah, I've been out here before too when camps were going on, and it's end of the day, parents come to pick up the kids and wind up riding a lap with the kids before they go home too, which is
Totally.
a nice way for them to show their parents what they learned and everything.
Oh yeah, and that's something we hear all the time is like, he couldn't keep up with me before he came to camp, and now that after he went to your camp all summer, I can't keep up with him.
Yeah. I guess my next question about the camps are, since they're already full for the year and it's not May yet, for parents that are looking to maybe have their kids in the camps next summer, about what's the time frame? When does registration open, and
That's
about
a
what time is it
fantastic
full?
question. So we are actually going to open our registration probably December 1st, 2021 for our 2022 programs, and you'll be able to book our fall after school club, our fall Saturday shred sessions, and our our summer camps starting December 1st. And this year, it's April, and they're already all booked up. So, it's a good idea to get in there early. And we typically do offer discounted rates, especially if you register that early. Typically, if you're registering January or before, we are going to offer a pretty good discount on that. But then we also have some other programs that will come about in the fall, like the Saturday shred sessions, which I've said like 3 times, but I haven't explained what they are. It's actually like a guided, day camp on a Saturday where
Okay.
you drop your kid off at 9 and you pick them up at 4, and they get to ride with another group of kids who are all, into riding bikes, progressing, having fun. And you also have some skills coaches there to guide them along the way, keep them in line, and make sure everybody's having a good time.
Yeah, that sounds super valuable.
Oh, yeah.
I wish things like this existed when I was a child.
I almost said that, man. It's like, where was this when we were kids?
I
man?
know. It's crazy. I guess it takes a generation of people like us to kind of realize that it's necessary.
Totally, yeah. It's a different extracurricular, There's definitely room for it, and we're finally getting to the point where we can have this as a society almost, So-
Yeah, exactly. And, another thing I like about a contained bike park is that this doesn't look anything like, neighborhood parks that have, old tennis courts with no net and weeds growing up through the cracks and basketball hoops with no net, that, people just don't seem to use those kinds of sporting resources anymore.
For sure. Yeah.
And this is a good void, good place to direct people that, are athletic but, aren't sticking ball sports players.
For sure. And that kind of goes to the story of Kolo and the Adventure Center itself and how it came about. I mean, this sits on what used to be, the back 9 of the Crown Plaza's golf course. And people quit playing golf, I guess, back in about 2008, 2009. And so they decided to find a better use of the space. And so they put up the zip lines and the Treetop Adventure Park and built some bike trails underneath them. And here we are almost 10 years later, and it seems to be like one of the best ideas they've had,
Yeah.
The golf course is eventually going to go away, and they're going to actually build condos down there in the lower half of this place. So
Right.
that'll be interesting to see how that goes. But outdoor recreation, especially in this area, I mean, that's...
Totally. That's why I moved here.
But hey, me too. St. Louis, it's pretty cool and all, but
Right.
Asheville's way cooler.
Yeah, I remember, late aughties, working in bike shops. Like the saying around the time was that mountain biking is the new golf.
Yeah.
And I can see that now.
Yeah. Oh, well, I don't know if you are a Biking with Bobo follower, but he put out a video the other day which was talking about, is mountain biking too expensive? And they were, comparing it, calling it, in humor, of course, an elitist sport, comparing it
Right.
to skiing and stuff like that, which, well, hey, it's not really getting too far off,
Yeah. It's hard to, like, growing up and being interested in skiing, it was one of these things for me that it was definitely not something I could invest in the equipment for to go do 2 or 3 times a year.
For sure, yeah.
And I think for some people, mountain biking is probably that, but with municipal, trails in every town now, it seems like it's gotten way more accessible. It's definitely not gotten any cheaper, but it does, like, the places that you recreate with a mountain bike seem to be more plentiful now than they were years ago.
That's for sure. And the bikes aren't getting cheaper, but used bike market is a thing, and starting on a hardtail is a thing. And hey, man, kids on BMX bikes,
Yeah.
It's still a thing.
Exactly.
Kid doesn't need a full suspension bike.
Now, I've ridden a lot of stuff on a rigid single speed and had a lot of fun. Maybe it wasn't the experience that I was hoping for, but it definitely didn't disappoint either.
For sure. Believe it or not, rigid single speed, my old Surly Karate Monkey, that's what got me into mountain biking
Yeah.
to begin with. So, hey,
Mm-hmm.
it's out there.
You can't break the bike, so it's definitely a reliable machine. What about events? Do you guys host any events here throughout the year?
We host a lot of after-school clubs, like local schools that have mountain bike clubs. We host them. We've had cyclocross races in the past. We haven't had any in the last few years. We have a great venue for cyclocross racing, so if any cyclocross race promoters out there are looking for a sweet downtown Asheville venue, hey, man, hit me up. But
Right on.
we haven't really had many events this last year. Obviously, with Corona was event-free.
Right.
But going forward, yeah, we're definitely looking at hosting some kind of, not necessarily like a weekly race league or anything like that, but we're going to have some events coming down the pipeline, and hopefully some demos, maybe get Rocky Mountain out here with some of their bikes pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. If you got any of those events coming up, feel free to reach out to me, and we'll put it in the show notes and make sure people know about it.
Totally, we will.
Yeah. So obviously we delayed this episode because you had an injury.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about that, or?
A slight injury, yeah. Broke my hip, man. I was riding my BMX bike, of course, and was at the Riveter. Don't tell my boss here, but
Gotta check out the competition.
Yeah, you gotta keep an eye on them, right? I was throwing a 360. I gotta make it sound cool here. I was throwing a 3,
Right.
threw the bike away, and I landed on my hip, landed on my butt, bounced back up to my feet, and tried to take a step, and I was like, oh, it's broke. No, I didn't think that. I was like, well, my leg doesn't work. But yeah, it turns out I broke my hip, got surgery, pinned it back together, and took about 2 months before I could get off crutches and stuff, but I can walk again. I can pedal my bike around again.
Yeah.
Coming back at it.
It's wild. We're able to heal.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing what like a couple of drywall anchors in your leg will do to keep your bone held together.
Yeah. I broke my hip years ago, and it was 6 months off the bike for me.
6 months.
A lot of that, too, is mental. Just
Yeah.
trying to talk myself back into it. It was not easy.
Yeah.
And but getting back on the horse, I recommend it. It's a known risk when we're riding bikes.
Totally. I can ride a bike. I just can't crash a bike yet. But I feel very fortunate with my injury, and hearing horror stories like I'm going to call yours a horror story, dude. 6 months off a bike. That's scary. And other people who I know who have recently had injuries, who have had like just weird things happen with like the surgery just kind of went a little wrong or something. And it's like, man, this could be a lot worse.
It
So
could be, yeah.
I've jumped jumps, and it's only been a little more than 2 months. Don't tell my doctor.
Right. Well,
be-
I won't. I
I'll be
don't even know who
soundless.
your doctor is. Was there anything special you did during your recovery, or was there any PT that you did that was particular?
Not really, man. I stayed off of it like pretty close to a full 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Pretty dang close before I like even think about putting weight on it. I got all the special like home medical stuff, like a shower chair,
Oh,
and
yeah.
like a weird seat for your toilet, all those things that it's not fun to talk about. But yeah, just didn't do anything. Took calcium, vitamin D supplements, and
Right. Well, luckily, too, with COVID, there wasn't a whole lot to do.
yeah, true.
So you couldn't have asked for a better time to have been down, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a silver lining there. I don't know if I'll call it that. But
Well, I'm glad you're back at it. That's good to hear.
yeah, man, getting closer at least.
Yeah. You get hungry towards the end, too, and it's hard to remind yourself not to jump the gun.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, that's really all I had up my sleeve. If there's anything else that you want to touch on and want to talk about, have at it.
No, the only thing I'd say is if you guys don't already follow us on Instagram, give us a follow on there to keep up to date with what's going on at the park. We update it every day. We're open with anything that might be closed, park conditions, things like that. We're at Kolo Bike Park, Kolo. I'm not going to spell bike park. You can figure that out. But
Right.
we have 5 to 5 going on Thursdays. Come on out from 5 to 8. It's only $5 to ride the whole park. It's a bring your own bike event. BYOB. We don't rent bikes during 5 to 5. It's a common question we get, so I just want to clear that up right now. Other than that, it was awesome to sit down and talk to you, man.
Yeah,
Finally
for
get it
sure.
done 2
Yeah.
months later.
So two things. Yes, I was very bummed when you guys had to cancel that interview. And also, I'm very psyched to get back for some 5 after 5 sessions. And so, Drew, get that shoulder better so we can go do some X-ups.
Yeah, X-ups and flip-flops and tabletops. It's my favorite social ride of the week in the summer.
Oh, man, it's a fun little time. Just either sessioning or heckling or doing all of it.
Yeah, totally. I'm probably going to go out this Thursday just to hang out and see some homies anyhow. But so besides that, how's the weather looking this week?
Well, this weekend is looking very nice. We've got, some warm highs and kind of some really comfortable overnight temps. The rain does kind of show a presence, a little in the early week next week, but it's not showing a lot of rain. It's probably going to be some of those like rainstorms that actually help the trails more than blow them out. So, the precipitation chance is on the lower end, but it's welcomed at this point, like when it's super dry, we need the moisture then, but looks like a good riding week.
Yeah, that's good. And yeah, we could use some moisture. It's super dry out there lately.
Well, I guess I can't say because I've not been home in like 2 weeks, so.
We just got 2 nights of solid rain, and I can already tell you that the dirt in my front yard where we've been doing some gardening is already pretty dusty.
Wow. Such a huge difference from how it was a couple months ago, but that's kind of how it is here in the mountains.
Yeah, if you don't like the weather, wait a few days.
Well, guys, that is a wrap on this week's episode, and as always, you can find us on social media and Big Cartel. So just search Pisgah Podcast to follow us along on social media and maybe buy a t-shirt.
And if you wish there was a mountain bike skills park in your town when you were a kid, make sure you subscribe and share with your pals, and I hope you all have a great weekend.
And what we would have done as kids to have spots like Kolo and